Happy Monday evening. Welcome to the Couchcasters podcast. One of your hosts, Jeff. This is my co-host, Parker, co-host, Scott, co-host, Hunter. Welcome to the new night, boys. Roll Tide. What's up?
Roll Tide.
Roll it with the tide.
Hell of a game Saturday night, man. Blowout to losing to winning to having to pick it in the end zone the last play of the game. I mean, the fourth quarter emotions were just. I think I woke up my.
Never really felt like we were losing that game, though.
No.
You know, even when they were up, it didn't really feel like they were in control outside of those 5 minutes. It happened so quick that it's probably why. But
I was almost thankful that they scored as quickly as they did and not running out the clock. I was going to be probably more worried if that was the case.
I was nervous. We scored so quick.
Yeah.
That made me because I knew Georgia was going to go right back down the field. They'd marched up and down the field 3 or 4 times in a row, like 10, 11, 12, 13, 17 play drives, like 6 for 6 on fourth down. I mean, just incredible that we could not get off the field on fourth down. But I also think that we might have changed a little bit on the defensive strategy in the second half. Kind of went a little conservative, like on offense, and I think this was a lesson for the coaching staff. Like, you can't coach not to lose in the SEC. You've got to coach to win. You've got to win, and don't go conservative in the second half on both sides of the ball just to try to hold on to a win against a team like that.
It's a great learning experience for even with a great win and everything. I think it shows that there's still things that need to be ironed out. I think Nick Sheridan and the other co-offensive coordinator, they'll be like, okay, here's playing. We got to keep our foot on the gas. No, not
There's
letting
a co-offensive coordinator?
I thought there was like him and one other person.
Maybe there is. I always thought it was just Sheridan, but I could be wrong.
But same thing with Womack. I mean, great first half, an abysmal second half. Almost gave up 500 passing yards to Beck. But to Scott's point, and y'all laughed at this too, I wasn't even awake for the ending of that game. I'd already gone to bed. Some crazy thing.
What the
I know.
Why?
Did this dude just say I went to bed during the Georgia-Alabama game? What the
No, that was the right response. No. Yeah, I don't even know what happened. So I woke up the next morning and see everything happening and just transpired. I was like, what did I miss?
It's a 1-score game. Time for me to hit the old dusty trail, everyone. What?
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
So I went back and watched.
Biggest game in 20 years, but hey.
Can't all win them all. That's what I said. It is on it, but.
Well, that was the loudest I'd heard Bryant Denny on TV on that Hollywood touchdown, and there were like 3 levels of it. It was like here when he caught it, here when he made the dead leg, and then like here when he, hit the sideline and outran that guy. And I probably watched that thing 50 times minimum Saturday night. That was incredible.
Yeah, I was in Tuscaloosa and I could hear the stadium from the bars. Like, props to the fans that showed up.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah,
and that was the play call. It was literally just throw it up. Throw it to Ryan Williams. Let him make. When he
saw that safety shade in the middle,
yep.
I'm just going to toss it his way, and that dude's going to come down with it more times than he's not.
Dude, the freaking juggle! I can't believe watching that live.
That was
like, holy cow!
When was that? Was that in the third quarter?
That was like the first, wasn't it? Or
I think it was the second quarter.
Couldn't tell you when the second.
First
okay.
But he had another catch early on that was really nice too.
Yeah,
man,
just electric.
He's so light on his feet. His jukes. That little move now where he catches it and goes one way, beep, before he button hooks around. I mean, his feet don't even hit the ground.
Defenses in the country right now, too. Just like
that's nuts.
Going against a good Georgia defense.
Wow. He's just something.
He's incredible.
Senior in high school. Can you imagine this guy in high school right now?
They probably wouldn't let him play.
I think it's a permission slip from his parents.
That's it. Like, there's no way you're 17, pal. You got to be at least 20, 21.
Can't even vote.
He might be the best receiver in college football right now, too. I mean, it's incredible. I doubted how much he'd even play this year, but I mean, he's best player on that offense at the skill positions. It's incredible. I mean,
the story about Milroe going to the coach saying this guy needs to be with the ones here. Like, enough of this third team mess. He needs to be with the ones quickly, and you're seeing why.
Yep,
you are seeing why. But yeah, the defense for a half was lights out. Second half, not so much.
Both twos though, on defense and offense, man. Both freshmen, incredible.
Yeah,
performance.
Xavier Brown played really well too.
That Xavier pick was nuts.
Yeah,
I mean, you didn't realize how good it was until you saw it in slow-mo, how far he had to reach back to pick that ball from front of that Georgia guy. Because, it wasn't just like he jumped in front of it and corralled it. Like, his body was going one way, and he reached his hands back over the other way. That's nuts. I don't see how he's a freshman. Can you imagine these guys get their diapers, get out of diapers?
Seriously. I mean, it's crazy to me that obviously Milroe had a great game. In the end, he was the difference maker. Building that lead. He was incredible in the first half.
He was, he almost locked up the Heisman in the first half.
Yeah. I mean, the way the freshmen played, how young a lot of the contributors were in this game, it's just incredible.
Nuts.
I mean, you got to think they're only getting better. This team's just getting started. Like,
I'm glad you said that, because towards the end of the year, you look at it and you're like, wow, this could be really turned into something. Now, obviously, if y'all heard the rumor that have gone around in the practice facility today, that all the coaches were leaving rat traps all throughout the place, and I was like, it's not wrong. It's not wrong. Don't get complacent. Don't start overlooking people. I don't care. Well, it's that rat poison.
It was really comforting to see DeBoer fired up.
Loved it.
Tell me about it. I thought he was going to fight somebody.
I know.
See, there you go. To all the Bama fans out there that said they didn't see, they were wanting a Saban-esque rant or a literally blow up. Well, there you go. Now you can just toss that one to the side too, because rightfully that was the pass interference. That was a no call, right?
Okay. Yeah, where he bulldogged him before the ball got there.
Watching that yesterday too. As I said, I watched probably up till the end of the. Now I saw Georgia score and take the lead, and then I was like, I don't know what happened, but anyway. So going back and watching the whole game through, that was so blatantly pass interference. It was just egregious how bad it was. But I will say there were some that we had that I thought that we could have gotten called pass interference on. However, that was probably the worst one of the 7 or 8 contested balls. I just don't know how you don't call that. That is, it was so bad.
It was right in front of the guy.
Yeah, it was right in front of him.
I think that's why Debo was so fired up. It was like, how do you miss that? You're literally looking at the play. Like, your only job is to watch the back here. How do you miss that? I think that's why he was so mad. He's ready to fight somebody.
How about Booker won shortly after that too?
Did y'all see after he got fired up and they threw his hat, the guy on the sideline with the crooked hat doing this?
Oh yeah.
Give it to him, coach. You tell him.
That was funny. The crooked hat guy was pretty funny.
Crooked hat, just like, I like that. I like to see him get fired up.
He was.
Oh man, it was good.
Yeah, that Booker penalty was bogus too, man. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah. I mean, he was just playing football.
Right. See guy, hit guy. That's what
fell in the ref's lap. So the ref threw a hissy fit because he almost got hit.
Yeah.
Flag. Took back a big play too.
Yeah. Big one.
Just ridiculous. Yeah. We could do a show about officiating every week. It's every game, every team.
It's been absolutely horrible this year. I would say it's worse than most years. I don't know. And it was actually, someone brought this up today. It was actually on Dusty and Danny this morning. They were like, what's going on with the officiating? Like the one, I know everyone's going to talk about this one.
Nuts.
On Friday night, Virginia Tech versus Miami. Do I think he caught it? I don't know, but you have to have indisputable evidence. This is Virginia Tech catching that game-ending touchdown catch. There wasn't any, details or stuff that I saw in it that could have distinguished and changed the outcome. You can't. It has to be indisputable evidence to say that he dropped it. There was none, and they gave Miami the win.
I couldn't believe they called it a touchdown. First of all,
well, and that's the thing. I kind of set him.
And it was like 4 minutes after the play, after the Miami guy ran out with the ball in his hand, and they're celebrating, and then somebody runs in and goes touchdown, and we're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like how did the ref decide that 3.5 minutes after the play was over? Did he suddenly decide, oh yeah, he caught it? I saw the whole thing. Didn't signal for 5 minutes, but I saw it.
Yeah.
And then they showed the replay, and I didn't think he caught it, but I didn't think you could overturn based on what they called on the field.
Exactly.
Had they called it incomplete like they should have, they couldn't have overturned it. But I didn't think he caught it. I thought the ball was moving the whole time.
But didn't it hit? Wasn't there someone, we talked about it very briefly during the broadcast. There was a guy with his foot out of bounds. He had like a toe out of bounds, or he was like stepping on the sideline, and he touched it. So it would have been a dead ball.
For illegal touching. Right.
Yeah.
And
so
I don't know if that's why they overturned it or not.
So in that situation, Fonzie, is it dead ball? Is that incomplete, or is that like a
incomplete?
Okay.
Is what I think. I don't know the rule.
Okay.
They should have talked about it more. They talked about it for like 5 seconds, but
well, I think that was a big thing they were discussing too, is a lot of people were like, well, we need an explanation of why y'all came to that decision, more than what obviously had happened.
Right.
And people want to hear like in the NFL, and I hate doing the comparisons, but we're already on that trend. So a lot of those NFL calls, you can hear the conversation going on from the ground crew to the up top, and then wherever, headquarters is. You can hear that discussion. I think people are wanting that because there's a lot of unknowns, and that the statement they made did not give any information on why it was changed or any of that. So I agree. It's pretty bad.
But they may have feared for their life. Like we ain't getting out of South Beach if we say this call on the field stands.
Yep.
They may have glanced around where they were and said, I think we'll overturn this one.
Or it could be because Miami is the ACC's top rated team right now, trying to save face. There's so many things that can go into it.
Much for the ACC.
I know. Well, if you win the conference, you're getting an automatic bid into the playoffs. So it's big for them, and they get that certain percentage of money from making the college football playoffs. So does the conference. So it's at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. And some of these decisions, I'm afraid that they're affecting some of the games.
They are affecting the games. We've been watching SEC football, and we recognize these referee faces long enough to know that they're really not very good. And when you see the Crue, you're like, okay, this is what we're going to get today. I don't know if the answer is more bodies, like add 3 or 4 more people to the Crue or whatever. But some of these
hire them full time.
Yeah. I think the NFL
with the NFL, they're part-time employees or volunteers essentially.
I thought the NFL made them full time, or maybe that was they're just talking about.
Yeah, they're still just part-time fitting.
I wish I made 6 figures part-time,
especially considering how much money you make. You can afford to have full-time staff refs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The NFL made what, $35 billion last year?
Yeah. So with that context, you kind of understand some of these BS calls. That sometimes, it's just a part-time gig for them.
Yeah. But think about the crap they got to know.
I know, exactly. I think it justifies a paycheck.
All the minutia.
Yeah.
Every little
situation.
Like that stupid penalty about not enough. Like if the receiver is a foot back, split out wide, and he's like 1 step behind the line of scrimmage, that's a penalty because there's not 11 or 8 men on the line or whatever the count has to be.
In the backfield,
technically on the line of scrimmage. And I'm like, really? The guy split out wide was 1 foot back, 1 foot, and that's a penalty? Like, what? But it is. You got to watch it.
PIs have always been notorious too because the penalty itself is vague enough to just kind of sway whatever way.
Well, it's like, yeah, it's like, at what point do you start looking for it? It's not the first 20 yards of the route, because they're basically in a boxing match running down the field with each other.
Mhm.
So at what point during the flight of the ball do you decide, okay, from this point forward, any contact's PI, but not up until, like, if is the ball at its crest, then the ref's like, okay, then I'm going to start watching for the hand checks. But anytime before that, they're down there like kung fu fighting down there.
I think they give them 10 yards, 8 yards, where they can, fight hands or whatever you want to call it. But, I've seen it called both ways. So I don't know.
On all those deep balls, if you watch, they're all like lock arms.
Yep.
They're hand fighting all the way down the field unless you're Alabama DB, your back is to the play and you don't even turn around to find the ball.
It happened again. I thought I'd gone down a wrong hole when I saw him going down and seeing this. I'm like, oh my gosh, why is his back to the quarter? That's why he was doing it. That's why he was tearing this up. How can you be successful when you're not even seeing where the quarterback's passing the ball?
Well, Herb Street had a great point. Like that last play, he played off him 10 yards so he could see the ball and make the play on the ball instead of playing up on him and then having to turn and with his back to the play.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a couple times if they had played it correctly instead of having the back to the ball, you could have had 2 more interceptions that were left. There were more interceptions left out there, that's insane.
Dude.
And Milrose was not his fault.
About 8 picks in the fourth quarter.
Agreed.
Yeah, seriously.
We dropped Lawson's had 3 drop pick sixes this year where he walks in the end zone. He's dropped 3 of them. We dropped several.
It could have been 40-something to 7.
Malachi Moore looks like he's got one go through his hands at least twice a game. I swear. I think he's going to have about 2 picks a game, and somehow they never snag him.
No, he was a menace Saturday too, and
he was. God, he was. Insane.
There was a couple plays where, obviously we couldn't get him off the field on 4th down, but this prevent defense, they were just trying to keep everyone in front of them. Didn't want to make the mistake of going for the ball and the guy just run past them, whatever. But
and then you have that bust on that deep.
They were a little more aggressive. I don't know if this one would have ever been close.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Even offensively, if we would have kept the foot on the gas on offense, even if the defense was going into zone, Georgia had no answer. They started closing off the edges, so Milroe couldn't get the edge like he was doing in the first half. Mm-hmm. But I thought we should have just started attacking them with the running backs between the tackles again. But Millie kept a lot of those riding the sides. He kept them for himself, and then the second half would get a yard or 2 try to go to the edge. And then
I'm kind of shocked when you talked about the running backs. I haven't really seen as much with Justice as I had hoped up to this point. Now I know it's only the 4th game, but I don't know. Something's going on there. I don't know.
He's not getting. He's in the game, but Milroe's keeping the ball on all these read option plays. Yeah. He's not giving the running backs the ball unless they're designed runs to the running back. But if it's a read option, he's keeping it just about every time, which he's the fastest player on the field, so you can't really fault him. But at some point, stick the ball in the running back's belly and
spread the love, man.
Let him do his thing. But now I about had an aneurysm on that 3rd down where Haynes got 1 yard short and fell sideways instead of just diving forward for the first down. I almost blacked out. I thought I was going to. I did. I swear, man. I was losing my mind on the back porch. I know I woke my neighbors
hearing
up.
Scanners.
Oh gosh, dude. It was. When he caught it, I said, "Oh, this is easy first down." He just fall forward, and he stopped running and fell sideways, and we were a yard short. And I was just like, "Oh man, I don't even remember." I just blacked out. I couldn't believe that he did that. And then Jam one time tried to bounce one outside. I didn't get that. And then the 6 reverse flea flicker fake pass, whatever that was, where we lost 6 yards.
I don't know why we were going so deep into the playbook.
Right.
We were up by 23. Just run the offense.
Bingo.
We wasted probably 3 or 4 downs when we were up big, just doing that. When, Jam didn't really get going. They started playing different defensively. You may have been able to gash them.
Yeah.
One drive, just all the way down the field with Jam. We didn't utilize him well at all in the run game. We didn't have to. Justice Haynes had 6 carries and played relatively well, but
Yeah.
man, we basically abandoned the running back Saturday, and I thought we had the chance to integrate them into the game more. But like I said, we were running all our, prayer plays that you'd think would need later in the season down by 6 with a minute left.
Yeah. Well, then it's like, we need a score. Just throw it to Ryan. Next touchdown. Okay. But it's like before that, like, let's try this. Oh, crap. We need a score. Throw it to Ryan. Touchdown. Okay. All right. It's like playing a video game and you're starting to lose. So you're like, all right, I got to go to the money play.
Yep.
And then you hit 3 of those, score, and you get out of there.
Now, if that one would have hit, I think it was before half when we were up like 30-7, would have been electric.
Man.
Not saying it wouldn't have been cool, but
the stadium indeed was. Yeah. I'll give it to Brian Denny. It got a little bit quiet about the middle of that 24-point or 28-point comeback. But up until and then at the end, that place on TV was as loud as I can remember it. And I paid close attention, especially on that Hollywood touchdown.
Yeah.
I went back many times and turned the volume up and listened specifically for the waves of it. Catch, move, speed. And then he did Dirty Bird in the end zone. That was awesome.
Yep.
The lights looked amazing, too. I wish I could have seen them when I was in college, but...
it's nuts. It's nuts.
They are pretty cool. Yeah.
You know what's crazy, though? It's like these guys go to the sideline, like talk about a play, and like all the lights go out all of a sudden. It's like, how do you see anything on the sideline? And then it's like strobing and red flashing. And these guys trying to like look at plays or look at formations, and all the lights go out.
Made for a cool drone shot from up top, though.
Oh, heck yeah,
come back
dude.
from commercial break to see the stadium come back. So that's
awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. Whoever is in charge of the game day experience, in Tuscaloosa, Brian Denny, whoever job that is, they are killing it.
Yeah.
Other than that stupid elephant noise that plays after every touchdown, and the band, other than those 2 things, they're pretty much their game day atmosphere is pretty top notch. Especially if Brian Denny stays in the game.
They were, and I'm glad you brought that up. We talked about the atmosphere. And Jeff, you and I have talked about this numerous times about how they're the quietest 100,000. That was not the case this weekend. Some of the things like Dixieland Delight, I heard that, even in the big moments, they got up. But the very end, when they're singing Rammer Jammer, I'm hearing awesome. the stadium because when we've had a couple that were pretty big back in the day. I mean, when I say back in the day, back in the 2015s to 2019, but you could hear echoing through the stadium. Like it'd be like they're all saying the same thing, the same line, but it's just the different levels of elevation and everything inside the stadium. It was nuts, absolutely nuts. And I'm glad that the fans were really involved in this because they need to keep that up. Because we have got to keep it up.
Absolutely agree.
So,
yeah. There were definitely moments of trepidation, but kudos to Georgia. They're champions. They didn't quit. Kirby Smart went to halftime and did what the best coaches do. They make adjustments. They took away the edge, and that changed our whole offense along with our kind of ease up play calling a little bit, I thought. But I thought them sealing off the edges kind of changed our plan of attack.
Tip of the hat to them.
Kudos to them, and that's what they do. That's what champions do. You can't ever count them out. That's why we should have buried them.
That they're a second half team, and that was my only worry. Is like, all right, well, this season we're very much known for our explosive offensive plays, and if we can't accomplish that in the first half, I don't think we have a prayer of beating them come second half. So we thankfully did.
Absolutely agree. Notoriously,
I really thought they didn't have it in them offensively to come back, though. So there. I said it last week. I thought if they got down, they were going to have a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Carson Beck looked lost and startled.
I mean, even later in the game, he didn't.
Yeah,
he made a couple nice throws, but he was really just chucking it up, and his receivers were making plays, which is something they've missed. They haven't had that all year. So guys stepped up, and that's what teams do.
Suddenly, George Pickens was back at Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, they had 3 or 4 guys that started making plays, but
And that's where I was wrong. I didn't see Georgia's offense having a really any explosive playmakers. Figured they could nickel and dime you to death down the field. Long drives, running kind of old fashioned, but I didn't see them having many game breakers. But I mean, they 86, man, he got loose. And then that tackle attempt by Sab up on the guy's shoulders, and like you'd expect moving that fast, he just chucked him off, and in the end zone he went.
Yep.
Oh, no, you're good. Good. I was trying to think of something Scott said something about. Anyway, doesn't matter. Continue. Sorry. I had a thought, and then I started listening to Jeff again, and I was like, okay, where did my train of thought?
I was just going to say, I've noticed that we're tackling pretty high this year. We've gotten pretty high with the tackling, up shoulder, chest area. I don't know if that's just situation, momentum carrying you, and that's how you wind up making the contact or what. But I just have noticed there've been a lot tackling a bit higher this year. They're so fast, though, they may not be able to help it. Go ahead, Parker.
This game could have been – no, you're good. This game could have easily been 42-16. We could have – if we had done the right things, it could have gotten that bad. It could have been – we could have had 42 points at the end of the first half. Yeah. So – I mean, everyone, talk about stats and everything. Milroe played, in my mind, phenomenal, as good as he could. The interception was not his fault. That was on the tight end, bopped it up in the air. And if he had caught that and gone to the ground, we'd have been on like that 7-yard line, about to go in one more time.
I think the throw was kind of bad, but then CJ popped it up.
Mm-hmm. He left kind of too much inside.
Not the best throw, but you also can't reach out and pop the ball up.
Mm-hmm. I know. Yeah, it was.
Appreciate his effort.
He ripped it in there.
Oh yeah,
a little off target, and he ripped it in there. I mean,
that was a missile, man.
Yeah,
it was tight coverage there. So I was like, I get why he did it, but But a lot of learning moments, and I'm seeing very, very positive things. Barring any crazy injuries, I mean, I know a couple people got hurt, and Law got kind of dinged up on that trick play. We didn't see him the rest of the game. I think someone else kind of got scuffed up a little bit, so I forgot who that was. But
yeah, K-Law going out didn't help.
Yeah.
That guy's
we used how many receivers though? 11 guys got receptions.
Bernard,
crazy.
Yeah. Bernard.
Everybody got a piece of the action.
That's great. Yeah.
Dupree was our second leading receiver as a tight end. I was like, I thought that other one he might have had a touchdown.
He had some legit catches. He had some legit yak, man. He got some big time yards after catch, and then he never falls backwards.
No, it's always falling forwards.
Like that guy's going to finish the run. Whenever he catches it and he's running, he's going to finish the play. I like what I've seen from him. Oots had a few catches. Did Cuevas get a snag?
Cuevas did get a couple.
He's been nice too when he's gotten a chance. He's made some plays. So, I mean, sky's the limit. This team,
and we haven't. Odom didn't even get in the game. I don't think.
No, I didn't see
another guy. He's a next year kind of guy.
Yeah, but he's so far down the depth chart. Like, even though he's good, like you said, Parker, it's like who are you going to take out to elevate him? Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody's playing so well. All the receivers are playing really well.
I think there'll be a couple receivers that transfer out. We talk about a lot of these things, getting the reps and everything. Kobe Prentice is one who I think might leave and go into the portal, which I wouldn't blame him if he did. He stayed. You got Bernard, you've got Hollywood, you got K-Law, E-Man, Emmanuel Henderson. I mean, it was, and he had a good game too. Game. So, the sky's the limit.
They should have thrown it to him more. Yeah, I'm with you, Parker. Sky is definitely the limit here. You too, Scott. Like this is, and it seems like each week a little more of the offense is being opened up. Another week he spends in the playbook and in practice. A few more plays open up. A few more things open up. A lot of formation shifts Saturday. A lot more than the first 3 games that I noticed when Milroe was in there. So I think we're seeing him progress and a little more of this offense opening up. and then him running is just an added dimension.
I think we can have a very interesting conversation for the SEC championship too. Not to look too far down the road, but looking across us, Alabama, Tennessee, and maybe Ole Miss if they can recover after Kentucky. But yeah, it's going to be pretty fascinating.
Texas, yeah, I was about to say Texas, us, Georgia. It's going to be. Well, I think at the week we play Tennessee, Georgia plays Texas.
Yeah.
So
really?
We're about
like that. Right there.
That whole weekend is stacked with great games on paper. Now it could.
I mean, Georgia and Tennessee are kind of probably have the most pressure. I mean, Tennessee has to play us as well as Georgia, and now Georgia has a loss on the books. So one of those two is going to knock each other out.
True.
I honestly don't really see. I would love it, but I don't really see Tennessee or Texas pump the brakes anytime soon. I'm pulling for Georgia. I want Georgia to beat Texas, but I don't know.
Yeah, Texas got a couple of difficult games coming up here soon.
Yeah, they're finally going to start playing people.
They've already announced because Texas is off on a bye week this week, and next week they'll play the Red River Showdown or the rivalry, whatever you want to call it. And they've already stated that Quinn is going to be the starting quarterback for that game.
Okay.
So do expect him back
this week.
Yes, they were just having because he had hurt his shoulder or something, like got injured in the first.
I think it was oblique.
Oblique.
Strained his oblique.
So yeah, they said 2 games. Think we're going to be fine. Arch can take care of it, and it showed a lot of people that Arch Manning is good, but there's a reason why Quinn starts. He does look very young, but I mean, hey, guy's a baller and he's going to do great things. I can already see he's got a very promising future for him. But
I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah,
with Sark's offense, he's going to be in positions to succeed.
He'll be good.
Absolutely.
I mean, he actually looked pretty good Saturday.
Yeah.
Like you said, some young mistakes. The running
talent's there
twice. That kind of held back the scoreboard a little bit, but they would have opened that game right up. I mean, they did in the end, but they really would have opened it up earlier if they didn't turn the ball over.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think turnovers will kill anything like that. Just ask the Auburn Tigers.
Oh, man. That was a great game, too.
How about backfiring 5 home games to start the season, coming out of there 2-3? Now you don't have any home games in October at all.
Yeah. It was like that last year, too. They really have like all their home games back to back to back.
Why do they front load their schedule with home games? I don't understand. I don't know.
As a fan, that kind of sucks. Like,
dude, can you imagine having season tickets and having to spend 5 weekends in a row loading up and going to Auburn and back and to tailgate and all that stuff for 5 straight Saturdays?
Yeah, it's got to be exhausting. On top of watching the performance.
And for that.
Yeah.
You're 5-0 and in contention. I can see that.
Play football.
But
I
go
literally got
Peyton
2 or
Thorne.
3 messages from Auburn fans. I think it was yesterday, over the weekend too, and they were just like this: "Hey, would y'all like to have an Auburn fan come on and just rant, because that's where I want to be right now?" Because he's like, "This team sucks." I was like,
"He's not wrong."
How was Hugh Freeze's post-game interview? Was it any better?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay. Still throwing those players under the bus?
He said for Auburn to hang in there. That's what he told Auburn Nation, Auburn family, just to hang in there.
Hang in there so they get that buyout.
What if Saban had said that halfway through year 2? Just hang in there, guys. What? I love it, man.
Guy's a schmo. Just a schmo.
Now he's
did anybody watch Game Day?
Oh yeah, I loved it
with all the Game Day stuff. I didn't watch it live. I recorded it so I could skip through all the 3 hours of the fluff just to get to the real stuff. Mm-hmm. And I thought the DeBoer segment with him sitting in the chair, with all those guys and Saban sitting next to him, I thought that segment was great. I thought the Miss Terry stuff was great.
Love that.
Man, I thought DeBoer did a great job with that.
I love the cut to Saban in the box, glasses on, with the score bug, 27-0, and he's just like
fist bump somebody,
stone faced, like taking notes, like he's straight up still coaching.
I'm like, I saw that too, and I was like, man, he's out there writing notes down, saying this guy didn't give too much effort on that play. I'm gonna have to talk to Debo about that.
I love it.
Probably waiting for Womack down in the locker room. I made a few notes here, and he like hands him a notebook about this thick.
Yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
Getting ready for that halftime report.
He's got to. He's doing research for him, man.
I love it. I love it.
That's so good.
They did good getting Miss Terry on there, though. It had to either be Nate, Miss Terry, or Julio. And they put Miss Terry. She went 8-2 in her picks, I think.
Yeah. Well, she knows football now.
Yeah, she's been around it for 45, 50 years.
Saban goes, I've been married
it,
52 years. If she beats me in this, I know I'm going to owe her something, or it's going to cost me something, or something like that. She did. I think he went 6-5 or 6-4 in his, and she went 8-2 or something like that. Miss Terry knows her ball, man. She don't play.
Oh, that was so good.
She don't play. Yeah, so we've got Vandy coming up.
Pat McAfee on the College Game Day show, and he gets up standing up on his chair. And it's
I know Reese had to hold the chair.
Reese had to hold it, and Miss Terry is trying to make sure he doesn't fall.
He's going to eat crap
and break his neck.
God, if he had, what if that had been live and he just slips out of his chair live TV?
Oh, man.
Goes, I would have just bellied up and just gone, see, this
on
is
the,
what you
on
get.
the mic'd up too, because the microphone would have been on too.
Oh, I can imagine how many explicit
That'd
things
been
he would have
awesome.
said. That would have been hilarious. All-time moments.
That'd have been awesome.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that'd have been awesome. I wish he would have. But he gets into it, man. He likes Bama.
I know a lot of people are divisive on Pat. I like Pat. I think
he's growing on that.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Pat a lot.
He's just well, that's the thing is, he's a show performer. He knows a bunch of football, but the characteristics and all the different things is so good. It really brings it back to be like, okay, this is a game. We love this game. We're never getting rid of this game.
You can have your suited up, commentators. You can still have fun too. It is football.
Yeah, exactly. He's having fun like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
I love the dynamic between him and Saban. I feel like they feed off each other pretty good.
Oh, yes. 1,000%.
Well, I think Saban was a guest on a show like every Monday the last couple of
yeah.
years.
I watched it, yeah.
Okay, so they've had a rapport already. But McAfee's a trip, man.
I still can't get over him. Pat's feeding Saban that giant rib that on set, like Saban's just taking a bite out of it and everyone's just losing. He's like, what? It's good. I was hungry.
Hey, man, Nick Tater got to eat too.
Pat's over here dangling this giant rib. What am I going to do? Not eat it? All right.
Well, we got Vandy coming up next week in Smashville. Fonzie going to be in attendance.
I will be there.
There you go, man.
Nice.
I will be there.
That's nice. So you get to see the all whites. Those look good on TV, man.
All whites, new stadium. Well, renovated stadium.
Renovated stadium. Yeah. We need to smoke the doors, man.
I'm a little nervous though, because Vandy's not little old Vandy anymore.
Yeah.
They're a semi-competitive team. I think we'll handle business just fine, but
what's the spread on that
predicting a rough first half?
I think it's like 24.
Yeah, it's 24.
Yeah.
For context, that is the same spread for Auburn, Georgia.
Wow.
So, like I said, it's not little old Vandy anymore.
Damn.
Or
Auburn 24-point dog against Georgia. Wow.
Yeah, it's rough.
That's going to be a tough game, and Georgia's going to be pissed after that up in Alabama. So you
ticked off Georgia team.
Now they're going to probably put up 40-something points on them.
Georgia
could be the first half. It's possible. Yeah, I mean, probably not a great time to beat the team following that game. Yeah.
Wonder what player he will throw under the bus after that game.
All of them.
Are they taking like a Deadpool? Are they taking bets on the?
I'm waiting for the Brian Kelly. I think
thank you. Yep. I know where you're going with this. I was just thinking about it. I think we players need to execute it a little bit better. I think we need to execute some of our players. What the hell, man?
Is that what he said?
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, yes. I was like, there's no
Wouldn't
way
he
he
die under his
actually
watch
said that
too?
on camera.
Yes.
Shouldn't you not say that if a student has died under your watch?
Yeah, that probably wouldn't.
Probably not the
I
best
think that
choice
was
of
like
words.
it was in his like what's it? Is he in his third year now at
Yeah, he's
LSU?
year three.
Yeah.
I think it had
Yeah.
been like it was either last year or his first year when he made that statement. Wasn't this year, but I'm just every time I hear that I'm like,
And every year that statement comes back, and he looks like it gets worse and
it gets worse every time. And I can't believe you said it.
It should come back.
Yeah.
If you say something that dumb, it deserves to follow you around the rest of your life.
Yeah.
God, I mean, I knew what he was trying to say. We need our players to execute these plays better, but it was not good. It was a word vomit of all ages.
Oopsie. Yeah.
Or maybe
There's
he
a good
did
chance we could play Georgia 3 times this year.
I was talking to someone about that
There's a fair
today.
chance.
Which would be insane. I don't want that.
I
to
mean,
happen.
that would be nuts.
I just don't know about Georgia still. Like, they're just thin up front and they can't run the ball. Like, they don't have their identity that they usually have, which is the trenches. Now, that's not to say they won't be a playoff team. I just don't know if they're going to be at the top of the SEC this year. If I had to put my money on it, this means everything coming from an Alabama fan, but I think Alabama and Texas are top 2 teams.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think you can trust Beck.
And that, I mean, he did not look good against Kentucky. Really, any team that puts pressure on him, he really struggles.
Bingo.
He really
Bingo.
struggles. There was one play in particular Saturday where the right side of his line just crumbled a little bit. Like, no one was in the backfield, but there was a little bit of pressure and he just panicked.
Yeah.
He is not good with any sort of pressure. He feels it right away and doesn't know how to react.
Was that the one where he like went out of the pocket, tried to run it, and then fumbled the ball? Was it that series?
No,
That
he
was
was he's just progressing through his reads and he just threw it. And it was way off target. No one was even in the area. It's like, man, he's just he can't handle pressure. And I mean, to be fair, like I said, their identity's in the trenches.
Up to this point, never really had to worry about it.
So he has 99% of the time he's throwing from a clean pocket. But Kentucky did this to him, and I mean, in the first half, we really did it to him. And
I'll let you said here's a good thing. I'm glad you brought all that up. How about Milroe moving up in the pocket when his offensive? I think it was the first or second drive that we had where the offensive line, they start putting pressure on him and he almost gets sacked, but he moves out of the way and takes off. I mean, that's that quick, and he's down to the 12-yard line. And
Yeah.
I'm like, see, that's what I need. What we need to happen. Make these, if your 1-2 read's not there and you're there in your face, in your backfield, go. You're the best athlete on the team, on the field at any given moment. They're not going to catch you.
He's
No,
become
that's
the
true.
best one to watch now.
I mean,
No,
every time he steps foot on the field, he's the best athlete in the game, and
Yeah.
every game he plays in.
Someone said that he is Lamar Jackson, but also has a stronger arm. They made that comparison this morning on, I think, it was Dusty and Danny as well. They said he's Lamar
Curtis
Jackson.
Watson last year. I mean, he reminds
He's a
me of Lamar
glorified
Jackson.
running back.
I say it because I know it annoys people, but there's just kind of truth to it.
I think
Yes,
he's got a
very similar
a better
style.
deep ball than Lamar does.
Yeah.
But
I think Lamar is probably quicker in his feet.
Yeah.
Maybe not top end speed, but quicker feet. And where I think Jalen's got him in the arm, and then I think they're both probably top end speed, pretty close. I mean, that touchdown run Jalen had, he just ran away from the defensive secondary for Georgia. He looked like Derrick Henry.
Yeah, you got a runner back that can throw. What?
I mean, that's what he looked like. He was down the sideline, and he ran right past the angle. They had the angle, and he ran right past both angles. So
Lamar has a crazy strong arm, though.
He can sling it. Yeah,
He does.
and he flicks it more than he plant your back foot and follow through. He flicks it a lot because he's on the run, or he's rolling this way or rolling that way, and then he just gives it a quick flick. But he's got zip on there for being able to flick like he does.
They're very similar.
Mm-hmm.
as we just discussed. But
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome when he's on your team. Say that.
Yeah.
Well, and someone made a statement about it today too, and I thought of all three of you when I heard this. They were like, well, last year when they're like, Tommy Reese, we understand, but it took him half the year to get comfortable in the system. And I was like, that's because I blame that on a young offensive coordinator who has no idea, doesn't really need to be involved in this situation. Now you got Debo and the crew; they're playing to his strengths and call RPOs, everything we kind of talked about last year. I was like, these situations, if you can dial it in, will work and will make us deadly. Just got to keep progressing and keep moving forward.
Agreed. I think we're getting a little bit more of the more offense in each week. A little bit more. And who knows, by the end of the year, if we do have to play Georgia again, I think this offense will be completely different. A lot of the same philosophies with Milroe and his legs and his speed and all that, but I think the offense could look completely different by the time the SEC championship game rolls around.
Did y'all see the direct snap to Jam when he moves out of the way? You can add something to that, another wrinkle to that play call where Jam gets it. Nobody was even looking at Milroe in that situation. They were all crashing. I was like, you could pass it to him and he's gone. I've watched that at least 10 times now. I was like, oh, you got about to get yourself in trouble if that's the case, because that you could do another wrinkle out of that play.
Yeah,
it's so well. And
probably a few things you could unleash in there.
I don't know. It's the. I guess the possibilities are endless with this kind of dynamic offensive scheme. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. I know it's way too early. I know this is coming from a Bama fan, but so far this is shaped up to be a historic season which should have been an off year for Alabama has now turned into probably one of my favorite seasons so far.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're contenders, man. I mean, this is going to go down when it's all said and done as one of the greatest coaching transitions of all time. The handoff from Saban to DeBoer, from the GOAT to the winningest active coach, who's now undefeated against Sark, Lanning, Kirby Smart, and who else was there? Was one other coach in that list he's beaten.
Lincoln Riley.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. So he's what is he, 9-0 against all four of those, or 8-0 against all four of those?
Something like that.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are saying, well, he inherited, a great team. It's like, yeah, but he's still on the field coaching. At the end of the day, he's the one blowing the whistle and calling the plays.
Bingo. The guy has got to buy in.
And he got all those other ones to stay who might have been on the edge about to be transferred. Now, I mean, did anybody see New Wave podcast maybe a week or so ago? And Ryan talked with Mbakwe and Ryan Williams.
With Malachi when he was the guest?
I think so. I think it was that episode, and they talked about how Ryan was saying, when I heard Saban retired or was retiring, I almost didn't come to Alabama. But Debo came in, the players came in, and kept that connection into it. And I was like, yeah. So it's a really testament to him staying with his commitment, because everybody else there knows my stance on commitments and what that actually means. But it's also on Debo too, like that. You got these guys to buy in and say, just give me this time. Give me a season. If you're not happy, then you can go.
Yeah.
How many of those players that have gone to Florida State or somewhere else, how much do you think are they regretting leaving after walking into that dumpster fire? Good Lord Almighty. Got whipped by SMU this week.
And I love how DeBoer has respected the process and the traditions, but isn't afraid to put his own stamp on things.
Amen.
Just incredible.
Yeah, amen. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Yeah, totally agree with that. It's crazy, though, man. I mean, I think we learned about DeBoer when he ran to this opportunity to follow Saban.
Not many people run to it.
He was like, yes, all day. And the players had to buy into it, and I think they've bought in. I mean, the guys that left, Downs took the bag and went to Ohio State. Bond took the bag, went to Texas. Now, I'm not entirely sure that Isaiah Bond didn't see what was coming from Mobile and think he's going to beat me out here. Like I'm not going to be able to hold this kid off. So I'm going to get out of here while I can. Now, and Roy Dell knew he was going to be the 4th on the depth chart this year, so he had to go. There was no way he was going to play this year. I think him and Jace kind of stunted the running back room last year because the 2 best running backs weren't getting reps. Because Jace and Roydell were, as much as I love them, Roll Tide. They played well for it, good players, but I think
they were good for us.
Jam and Justice, I think, are better, more explosive.
Yeah,
and I think
they're built for it.
Jace going to the pros, and I think Roydell knew that he was going to get passed by 2, probably 3 running backs on the depth chart.
Richard Young too. Yep.
And I have nothing to base that off of other than just a hunch, just my gut feeling. Don't know why Earl Little left. I'm not sure what that was about. Surely he couldn't have gotten a bag. He didn't do anything to earn a bag yet. So,
isn't he from Tallahassee?
Is he?
I think so. That might have fed into it.
That may explain something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that may explain a little something then. But
yeah,
no love lost. I mean, whatever. He
wearing crimson.
Didn't really play for us.
Bingo.
We have plenty of guys in the secondary.
Well, once again, we're better.
Yeah.
Young, green as green can be, but in terms of athletic ability and talent, we're better in the secondary this year. Just younger, so they're making a lot of green mistakes.
Yep.
But like I said earlier, when they grow out of their diapers here, man, we're gonna have a legit secondary.
Yeah.
Sideline to sideline.
If this is truly year 1 for DeBoer, we need to lock him up, please, and thank you.
Please.
We will.
Yeah.
We will. I mean, he's in his 50s? Early 50s?
Yeah, I think so.
Is he? Yeah, it's got to be early 50s.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what his thoughts are on the NFL. I wouldn't know if he'd ever want to pursue something like that. I mean,
biggest fear.
Yeah, and I was like, I get it. It's more money and less responsibility, more so.
Or really it's just a headache. I feel like the NCAA produces. Now, granted, now we got like GMs basically that might help alleviate that. But even then, there's just so much BS that the NCAA generates that's just so unnecessary.
Way too much.
Yeah, that it needs to be addressed. We talk about it every week.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy, man. That was a wild game. So now we got what? Vanderbilt? Who's after Vandy? South Carolina, I think.
Yep.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
And Tennessee. And then we have
Tennessee after South Carolina.
Then we got Oklahoma before Auburn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Missouri's after Tennessee.
Missouri.
That's LSU.
LSU. Mercer. Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Auburn.
Mm.
And then Atlanta the following week against Texas. That's my official prediction.
There you
I
go.
think you're onto something there.
That'd be good.
We'll see.
You're definitely onto something there. I don't see Texas. I mean, Oklahoma always gives them a game, so I'm not going to just write off Oklahoma. That's who got them last year. I think they got them year before that too, or maybe the year before or year before. But anyway, that's always a tough game. So I don't think Texas is automatic in that game, but I think Fonzie, I think that Texas is probably going to be in that championship game at the end.
It's just their schedule too,
Hopefully it's against
us. They beat Oklahoma. I mean, they have Georgia. They have to go on the road at A&M. That's not a slouch either. For as much talent disparity there is in the SEC, which probably isn't much from team to team, they should just have the clear advantage in pretty much every game outside of Georgia, and that's about it. Even Oklahoma and A&M, I think those are rivalry games, so you don't know what's going to happen, but they're stacked. I mean, that roster's
absolutely
as good as anyone. So.
They are stacked, and they got good QBs, man. If you got good QBs, you got a shot.
I'm thankful they're not in our regular season. That's all I'll say.
I know we got them twice before they joined the league.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably bode well, but so yeah, man, we're in it now. So we'll see. This will be a good road game following the biggest game of the season. So we'll see how we respond. I don't think this team's going to have a big problem responding. Milroe, as the team captain, they follow that guy. He seems pretty focused on 1-0, winning every play, 1-0 every play, 1-0. Not looking ahead to anything, not press clipping himself. It's like let's just 1-0. And his post game interviews are awesome.
Yeah, they are good.
Great dude.
They're very, very thought out. They're very in depth, like with the team mentality and what they're really good. I really like listening to him after that game, after those games. I'm
hoping, depending on the scoreboard, we get to see Simpson get some reps in there. That'll be nice.
Yeah, I think you'll see Ty this weekend. I think you'll see Ty in the next 2 games.
Yeah, that's my hope at least. He's looked good, but the more experience under his belt, the better come next year.
True.
Absolutely.
Because I don't see any way Milroe's back next year, especially if he continues on this arc that he's on.
Oh, he technically could come back? I didn't realize that.
I think he's a junior. Yeah, I think he's only a junior.
He's got a year left. I don't think he will if things continue this way. Money's too much. I mean, everybody talks about NIL money and all that. It ain't nothing compared to NFL money. Yeah,
those first round contracts are guaranteed now. If he's a lottery pick, that's what, 25, 28 million guaranteed.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get a good enough grade for him to.
I mean, he's going to be the first quarterback off the board, unless he just falls off a cliff. But,
yeah,
I mean,
or blows or gets hit the knee or something. Last game of the year, gets his knee exploded or something. Other than that, I think you're right. How could you not?
First off the board.
How could you not want that guy on your team?
It's Ewers.
We already talked about Carson Beck, but and Ewers too. But he doesn't have the arm strength, I don't think.
Man,
someone will take him in the first round, probably high. But
shoot, if it's anything like the last NFL draft,
Shador is going to go pretty high too.
Yeah, forget about Shador.
He's kind of. I'll say this: he's kind of shown me a couple things. He's got a lot. He has a huge personality. It gets into the room before he does, but.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll leave it at that.
Which one are you talking about?
Shador.
Okay.
His ego and personality coming to the room before he does. So, but with that, he's got the mechanics to do it. And he's got a strong arm, can read a defense. I mean,
that throw against Baylor was ridiculous.
Yeah. Like I'm as much as I want to knock on him.
That was stupid.
He gets to the right team in the NFL. They'll have a steal with him.
Well, we've seen egos in the NFL. You either become the Baker Mayfields or the Johnny Manziels, where you just don't have a job in it anymore. So
True.
The NFL straightens that out pretty good.
It doesn't take long for the NFL to choke out some egos.
Yeah, it is not afraid.
It doesn't take long. It don't take long or the injury gods don't like that either. So you get a little too full of yourself, the injury gods will sneak in there and snip your Achilles. Like
speaking of
James Daniels, who didn't deserve that yesterday.
Speaking of Achilles, did y'all hear the update on McCaffrey? Has Achilles tendonitis in both of his Achilles.
What the heck happened to this guy?
I'm like this. Yeah, he ain't gonna play this year.
You know what happened to him is I took him number 1 in the friggin' fantasy. That's what happened to him. Quality of
got to alternate
got another one.
Years with him. Like he was healthy last year. This year you can't take him. He'll be amazing next year. But
how do you not
let him
take
drop to like 10?
McCaffrey, if you're sitting there with the top pick, how do you sit there and not take him? Because then you're like, but what if he goes off and then you'll be the guy that passed on McCaffrey?
Yep. I was there.
So it's like,
been there.
Like you can't not take him. Like the year I took Adrian Peterson number 1. He played 1 game and then got suspended for the year for beating up his kid. So they were that number 1 pick.
Dude, in my other league, I picked up Rashee Rice, who's been doing great for me so far. And then gets injured by his own freaking quarterback.
I'd say Mahomes took him out. That was a direct knee shot, too. I don't know what Mahomes was doing. He just was like,
if I
there's
heard
Rice's knee.
Collinsworth say, man, that was very my homie. I was going to throw my TV out the fucking
That guy shouldn't even be playing too, which is the crazy part.
No, after he
That's
what,
like some
ran somebody
nasty
over on the
karma.
road and then left the
Yeah.
scene.
And then supposedly
And then
pulled a gun on someone. I mean, he had quite the off season. None of it was good.
No, none of it was for the
Quite a
right
few
reasons.
Chiefs players.
I mean, but yeah, like I took Kelsey in the first round last year. He had the worst year of his career
I saw Kelsey coming.
by a million to the playoffs. And then once the fantasy season was over and the playoffs started, he was back to
Started
catching
going
12 balls a game, clutch one-handed, playoff catches, touchdown, Chiefs, back-to-back champs. And Kelsey was a huge part of that. But he was literally nothing all season. 900 yards, I think he had. Lowest by his career, about like 400. Yeah, I mean, and then McCaffrey this year. One year it actually worked out good for me. We had keepers from one year to the next, but I didn't know what that meant. So I kept a little known receiver for the Steelers named Antonio Brown because he had a few punt returns, and that wound up being my first round pick that next year. And I was so mad because I never would have taken him first round, obviously. And then that year he had like 150 catches or something. That was the first year that he just exploded. And so it ended up working out for me that time. But in that initial thing, I was like, who would take Antonio Brown in the first round? And then he became AB that year. And then, became the nightmare. Gradually got worse and worse in terms of his mindset, the better he got.
CTE ESPN.
CTE, yeah.
Lord of mercy.
That account, I'll say, when he ever shows something out on one of these people and it's completely true and his hashtag is CTE ESPN, I kind of chuckle a little bit, but I'm like, no, it's not funny. That's actually something very serious.
He's
entertaining. I'll give you that.
It's serious, but the sad thing is his brain's literally melting in his skull. And he's like right about a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
He's the only one that has the balls to say any of it because his brain's melting in his skull. It's insane.
Because I just blame it on, man, that guy's crazy anyway.
I mean, his commentary on the debate was just like crazy.
Jeez.
Oh, AB, man. I miss the old Antonio Brown. That guy was fun to watch. The good old days. The good old days. But so before we wrap up, Braves in the playoffs open against the Padres tomorrow. Hopefully Chris Sale, who got scratched right before the game to make or break your season. They scratched him, started some random reliever who went pitched 4 shutty innings. So congrats to that dude. Yeah,
it was a crazy first game. It was frustrating, but it was crazy to watch.
Yeah, 3-0 in the 8th, and the Mets put a 6 spot on the board.
All I had to do was just close out. Couldn't do it.
And the Braves retake the lead. Unbelievable. And then they give it back up in the 9th. Like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Ay. So,
props to the Mets. They started out as a dumpster fire and then somehow managed to clinch a playoff spot. So.
And thank God the Diamondbacks are out. I mean, because if the Diamondbacks got in, they're going to go to the World Series again. And then for 2 years in a row, we're going to be stuck with the Diamondbacks in the World Series with their 85 wins.
Yeah.
Or however many wins they had.
Exactly.
Freaking expanded baseball playoffs.
Schedule is what's really thrown everything off.
Yeah.
I mean, the Yankees had the best record in the AL, right? They had 94 wins, 95 wins?
95, I think.
That's crazy. Usually there's at least 1 or 2 teams. 101, 102.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers had 97 and led the league this year. I think that was the highest win total, was 97.
Yeah, I mean, the Pirates won, 76? And they were, they're at like the very bottom of the league. That used to be like 18th,
mid.
19th.
Yeah.
It's just everyone beats each other up.
Man, I watched that Yankees Pirates game on Saturday. Why they took Skeens out after 2 innings, I know whatever their reason was. I thought that was silly because Cuz was dealing the Yankees. He was killing the Yankees for those 2 innings. They had no shot. And he threw 18 pitches in 2 innings, and they took him out. I don't know.
I guarantee it's not the reason you think it is either. I mean, I don't know the reason. I'm sure it's just like, we're playing for nothing. We'll give him his start.
What they said on the broadcast, this is what the Yankees broadcast team said, was that Shelton had said all along that Skeens is only going to go 2 innings, and then they were going to pitch, what's his name that they just called up, that rookie pitcher they just called up, Hubbard or something, or whatever his last name was.
Oh, Chandler.
Or whatever. He had a beard. But that the plan was to bring him. They called him up and then put him in the 3rd inning. That Skeens all along, regardless of how good or bad he looked, he was only going to go 2 innings. And he looked really good, and I was really ticked. Even though he was dominating my team, I wanted to see him pitch in Yankee Stadium. Let the guy throw. He's a baseball pitcher. Let him pitch. I mean, only throwing 150 innings. That's not like you got to shut him down the last game of the season from pitching 5 innings. He only pitched 2 instead of 5. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
He has a whole offseason to recover from that start.
That's what I'm saying. Look at the dude. He's not like you don't have to tiptoe around his arm strength. The guy's a tree trunk. He was ready to pitch in the big leagues 2 years ago. So like you don't need to baby him through his inning count this year. He's already been a pro pitcher for a year plus.
Like I said, I promise whatever you're thinking.
It's giving him too much credit.
Probably had something in his contract that if he threw this many innings, he was owed like $3,000. And they're like, nope.
I heard say you're out, son.
Can't do that.
On.
So we threw Mike Burrows.
Burrows. There were 2 R's. I knew there was 2 R's in there somewhere. Yep.
Why we couldn't have thrown him Sunday or whatever, I don't know. But
Paul Skeens at Yankee Stadium, that's box office. Why would you cut that short after 2 innings and 15 pitches, 3 strikeouts?
Yep.
Anyway, so on to NFL right quick. Murph, I know there's no point in talking about the Dolphins. They're like down to their 4th quarterback. So Dolphins season is officially over. The Steelers season ended yesterday when now we're down 2 or 3 linemen. John LeGlue Fonzie is back on the team. That means the season is a wash.
Well, he's a good dude. Just hope he doesn't play much. Say that.
Sure, he's a nice guy.
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
But now we got Mason McCormick. We got 2 rookies starting. What is Spencer Anderson? Isn't he a rookie last year? Isn't he a 2nd-year player?
Yeah.
Bookended by Broderick Jones, who might be the worst right tackle in the NFL, and Dan Moore, who might be the worst left tackle in the NFL.
Dan Moore. Oh, my gosh. I remember y'all griping about him last year.
I'm telling you, if not for Justin Fields' pure athletic ability, we may not have scored any points this year.
We may not have. I mean, Dan Moore's been better, but still not great.
The line as a whole is just so bad. I mean, Frazier's played pretty well at center. I think he's going to be fine going forward, but we just cannot run the ball. Like Najee had 12 carries for 15 yards yesterday.
Yeah.
So the running game is Fields or bust. And
what's the next game lined up?
Who do we play Sunday?
Cowboys on Sunday night.
Oh, that's right. Sunday night versus Dallas. Who's the worst run defense in the NFL? We might rush for 50 yards, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe 50 yards.
Maybe. I mean, they had a practice squad guy taking number 2 RB reps. And he was in the practice squad like 20 minutes before the game started. Like, I mean, Fields has played really well, I think, considering he has no line to protect him and no running game to help him out. I think he's played pretty dang well to be 3-1 at this point, even though we hadn't scored much.
He's played really well.
But I've been very impressed with Fields this year.
Yeah.
And I was not a big fan before.
You can thank the Bears.
Bears.
Up Bears.
He's doing what we're asking him to do. He's doing it well.
True.
I mean, he made some plays yesterday. We didn't, absolutely break down in the first quarter. Really, the whole first half. So probably would have won that game. I mean,
yeah. So I ask you both: if he ends up having a pretty decent year, would y'all, as fans, consider doing another 1 year, maybe a 2-year deal with him?
I'd give him like 4.
Yeah. I mean,
if he plays well, he'll get a 4-year. team or 3 with a team option for a 4th or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
But it won't. I don't know what they're going to pay him. I can't believe they'll pay him 25 or 30 million a year.
It sounds crazy, but honestly, that's what you need to do now.
But that's a bargain nowadays.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew is your quarterback if you don't.
I mean, they just gave Freiermuth $50 million. The guy has less impact on a game than any other player in the league, and they just gave him $50 million.
Yeah. He has those 1 or 2. I mean, Sunday, like yesterday. Good.
Yeah,
game.
he made a good catch. That touchdown.
He has those 3 or 4 games every year where he's the guy. But
yeah, where you're like, they got to lock him up. And then the other, and then he'll miss a handful. And then the other games, you're like, did Freiermuth play today? And you got to look at the box sheet, 1 target, Oh,
yeah,
wow.
3 receptions, 17 yards.
2 false starts and a fumble or something. And you're like, huh?
I feel like every year I pick him up in fantasy and just rides my bench the whole time. But he's there,
Listen, public service announcement: never pick a Steeler offensive player in fantasy. It will destroy you.
Yeah.
Although
that one year with Najee was kind of good.
Fields might get some this year here and there, but if Pickens, Najee, Warren, Deontay last year, any of them, Freiermuth, they're all going to just leave you going, why did I do that? Why did I do that? I knew better than that.
Yep.
My cousin started Najee yesterday, and he lost. And I was like, why would you start Najee ever for any? Why is he even on your team?
Oh, last year he averaged like 2 points for me per game.
I mean, I love Najee, but he sucks for Pittsburgh. Now that they're not giving him a bunch of holes, but
we don't help him.
You can't take slower running backs and give them no space. You're going to get 12 carries for 15 yards. He's not fast enough to cut it outside and get to the corner and gain 6 yards just on his speed alone. He's got to go north-south, which there's never anywhere for him to go north-south. It's a combination of he's not, Le'Veon was so good at waiting for the crease to get there and then slipping through. And Najee just dives in there, nose down, and there's never any holes ever for him. I feel so bad for him. But his running style is not conducive to the way our offensive line protects or lacks thereof.
Had a good rookie year, though.
Yeah. I mean, he's had 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Not too many running backs have done that, playing behind the worst offensive line consistently every year and the worst offense in the history of the NFL for 3 years running.
Yeah.
So, I mean, considering he's produced for the Steelers, but it's hard watching him in games like that yesterday.
Is this his last year there of his contract?
They declined his option, so he'll be a free agent after this year. So we'll have a new running back next year. Probably Jalen Warren.
How much are y'all paying TJ? Did y'all lock him up?
Who?
TJ Watt?
What is he?
Like 20, about 20 mil, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. He got 100-something million, 5 at 1 something, 4 at 1 something.
Paying Freiermuth more than TJ Watt, huh?
It's like 28 a year, but he's guaranteed 20 a year. So
okay.
Yeah.
But I was focused on, but he has a bunch of incentives in there and signing bonus and all that. But
oh well, anybody got anything else to add before we sign off for the night and get ready for Vanderbilt this weekend?
Just remember to like and subscribe, and also tune into the Way Offsides guys on Thursday.
Please do both things. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. Tune into Way Offsides. See y'all back here next Monday night. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.